Hey y'all. So I decided I will go ahead and make this video. I've been taking a little bit of a break from social media, from creating content, but for whatever reason, a video that I posted 5 months ago has got the people in a frenzy. So I figured I will make this video, not to deny anything that I said, but maybe give a little clarity to some of that video. I made a video back in February about why I decided to leave Georgia. Yes, I left the state of Georgia because I didn't want to say a different town or anything because people will still think, oh, well, she's still in Georgia. And for those who think that, or feel that I keep saying Georgia, when people say Georgia, no one thinks about Macon and Augusta and all of those places. They think about Atlanta and the surrounding areas. And at the beginning of that video, I said that I lived in Conyers. But if I continue to say Conyers throughout the video, a lot of people like, it's going to lose a lot of people because they don't know where that is. Conyers is 30 minutes outside of Atlanta. But I lived in Conyers. I laid my head in Conyers. But as far as working and enjoying entertainment and all those things, I was in Atlanta, Buckhead, Brookhaven, Marietta, Lawrenceville, Jefferson, McDonough, just to name a few. I was all over. So yes, I know a lot about Atlanta. And I do want to start off with this video. I just want to let a lot of people know. It was a lot of people talking about how I said about the people that I have encountered that were from the area. Some of the people that I encountered from the area. The people that were in my comments, I've never met you. So therefore, I was not speaking to you, nor was I speaking about you. So if you took that personal, that's your problem. Because I've clearly stated that this video was my personal experience, which also leads me into, I don't understand how men are going against the things that I stated. My experience and your experience are going to be vastly different. Why? Because I'm a woman and you are a man. So how? I just, that bothers me. That really bothers me at the number of men that wanted to come at me in the comments. And then since we are already on that subject, I'm gonna go ahead and brush that one as well, because you also have men that are being the spokesperson for their friend group and saying not their friend group, because I brought up the fact about DL, and I did say before I even stated that have not particularly met anyone or encountered anyone that was, I didn't not met, but no, I didn't have any dealings with anyone that I felt that was. But let me bring this to the attention of those men who want to speak about their friend group. If your friend is getting bent or the one that's doing the bending, you would not know. Because if you knew, then that would not give them the title of DL, correct? So let's not speak on that either. Okay? Mind your business. Because a lot of times you don't know what your friend is doing. So let's start there. Married women. I'm a single woman. So my video had nothing to do with your experience either. I just, the comments are, it's so many people being combative about my personal experience. I was careful not to bring up other people or certain particular situations because it was about me. And I didn't bring anybody else into it. And I was very careful of that for a reason. But going from there, one of the very first things that I stated in that video is I moved there to be closer to a family member. There are so many people in the comments that are stating that I moved there for a man. You're correct in the fact that it was a man, but that man was my father. I moved to Georgia to be closer to my dad, who I lived with for the first 4 months that I was there. and moved less than 10 minutes away from, which is why I remained living in Conyers for the duration of the time that I was there for almost 8 years, because my father lives in Conyers. So I'm not sure. So many people listen to the video to respond instead of listening to understand. Now, I did speak about a relationship that took place as I was in the process of moving. This is somebody that I have known since I was in middle school. This was not a new person. I moved to Georgia when I was 31 years old. Yeah, I think I was 31. That person was about 35. Um, my decision to move to Georgia was independent of myself. When they found out I was moving, they decided some months in that they wanted to move there as well. They came, they tried it, and they left. And during the duration of the time that they were supposed to be living there, they actually were not in the state. And somebody else in the comments had the audacity to say, because I said that something happened, and me and that person separated. But somebody was like, "Oh, he was a drug. That person was a exchanging illegal substances and went to jail." That was so far from the truth. This is a person that didn't even own a weapon. I own the weapon. Let's start there. So this person actually had a position where they would have assignments all over the US. And when I moved into the rental house, that person had an assignment for a month or so. They actually only stayed in the physical home maybe 2, maybe 3 nights, and they slept on the opposite end of the house. It was a 4-bedroom, 2.5-bath house. I was in the master bedroom. I had a king size bed in there. I had my queen size sleigh bed in the guest room. Another room was my office, and they decided to sleep all the way on the opposite end on the floor. Why? I don't know. Because they could have slept in the guest room, but we had already made it clear that we were not going to sleep in the bed together, okay? That was already understood. So that's all I want to give energy to that situation. But no, I moved to Georgia to be closer to my dad, not for a man, because if that was the case, I would have left when they left. No, I stayed. Okay. And another thing, all of these Christians that we have on here, so such mature Christians, that I'm gonna go ahead and dive into that as well. So I completely surrendered my life and gave God my yes May 29th of 2024. So all of the decisions that I made prior to, which a lot of what I talked about in that video were things that occurred between 2017 and 2021. And the decisions that I made has nothing to do with the person that I am today or the person that I was at the time that I made that video. Were there some bad decisions that were made? Were there some fleshly decisions? Were there some worldly decisions? Yes, there were. But once I actually surrendered my life to Christ and I submitted to his will, because somebody also said that God gives us wisdom and our own free will. He gives us our free will. But I also had to lay down my will and surrender to his will for my life. I no longer live off of what I desired, because I had gotten to a point that I was tired of being the reason of the one making decisions that ended up hurting me. So I submitted and I surrendered to God's will. And God's will over my life, once I strengthened my relationship and he pulled back the veil and I started looking at some of those past experiences, and I became so spiritually sensitive to my environment, that's why I'm no longer in Georgia. Okay? Let us just be clear there. And other people, I appreciate. I spent maybe like 4 hours responding to comments about a week or so ago, but I have not looked at the comments since then. And because I mean, it's the same old thing. it's the same old thing. People that either listen to a portion of the video or they only listen to respond as opposed to listening to understand. I'm not going to even address it. I'm not going back and forth with you. You're trying to wake up the old Jasmine. I see where the enemy is trying to use you to silence me again. God has given me this voice and I'm going to use it. And I was speaking to those who, first of all, to single women, to those who, my channel is for women or young ladies who are deciding to start a relationship with Christ, or are they on the fence with having a relationship with Christ. I want to show you what my walk looked like. And a part of my walk was removing myself from a place that I made the decision to move to when I was living off of my free will. But now that I'm living according to God, I had to make some adjustments. And I'm going to make a update video after this. It'll probably come out on Thursday. Today is Labor Day. I'll post this video probably on Tuesday, and that video will come out on Thursday about a life update. But I just wanted to make this video to clear up some things and some other things. First of all, I said that I was receiving disability payments. I was not on Social Security. Let's start there. I was receiving long-term disability from my previous employer. I never talked about it, what industry I was a part of. I never talked about what my salary requirements was to maintain my lifestyle. So anybody that gave any type of feedback on that, or like, please be quiet, because you do not know what you are talking about. Your life is not mine. Your lifestyle is not my lifestyle. Your bills are not mine. Your expenses do not look like mine. You did not come from an industry that I came from. You were not making the income that I was making. You do not know what I was used to. So in comparison to where I was not able to make that in one job in Georgia. One job. Multiple? Yeah, I could get there. But in one job, no, I could not. Okay. And I still will not elaborate on the industry that I came from. Then I had some woman talking about, I mean, she was just like, this video is not even for you, sweetie. You're married? Or to your manly husband? Okay, then. There's a lot. Never mind. And talking about their 6-figure salaries and all of this and whoop the wow. I love that for you. I love that for you. I had a 6-figure salary in my 20s living in Louisiana. So where are we going with this? Like, let's stop, okay? There was so many misconceptions in the comments. The comments were just, yeah. Like I stated, this was my personal experience. I was not trying to bash anyone. I was just talking about what I experienced. And people talking about you should have came with a plan and whooped the why. The plan was to move closer to my dad. And for the rest of that, I would figure it out. And that's what I did. And in order for me to work and all of those things, I had to go outside of Conyers. I never worked in Conyers. So I can't, the bulk of my video cannot be discussed about Conyers. Outside of me living there and attending a church there, I didn't spend time in Conyers like that. If I wasn't in my house, in order to work, I had to leave Conyers. Okay. My church. I was a member of the Way Community Church, pastored by Dr. Darrell Hall in Conyers, Georgia. We formerly were a part of Elizabeth Baptist, the Conyers campus, but we're 2 years old, going on 3 years old, as the Way Community Church. Amazing church. Amazing church. I recommend anyone to go. Even if you start online, go in, become a part of a life group, because it definitely transformed me. It transformed me. It helped me on my walk. getting into the discipleship program, the Wayfinders, it opened up so much. God was able to reveal my purpose to me in so many ways. So, all of those who are on this journey and trying to walk this thing out and want to see what it looks like, because it's not easy. Just because you become a Christian does not mean that your life is just going to be all peachy. And that's what my videos are about on my channel. Not only am I teaching or revealing how certain scripture was broken down, was revealed to me, or breaking it down on my channel, but I also talk about my life experiences now that I'm a Christian. Because I posted a video about proper discipleship and a lot of people not being properly discipled. And that's why they find themselves in a lot of the situations that they've been in, because had they been properly discipled, that never would have been a factor. And a lot of my experiences can be that. But to be honest,
Hey y'all, this is me editing this video, and I see I got to the end and the video actually cut off. What I was talking about is basically a lot of us were not discipled properly, and if we were, some of the situations that we got into would have never been an issue because we would have went a different route. But thank you all for watching this video if you stay to the end, and I appreciate you, and I'll see you in my next video. So you all have a blessed week.